Hey, what's up, everyone? This is going to be a TNA Bound for Glory 2011 pay-per-view review. I'm not going to say that I was disappointed. I was just very, you know, optimistic and very hopeful that the show would end up being awesome. Because you look at Bound for Glory's track record, it usually is an awesome show. 2005 through 2009 were all pretty much, arguably great shows. Last year was very, very disappointing, I would say. But on paper, I really thought the show had potential to deliver. I mean, obviously, there's no reason why this should not have been the second best mainstream pay-per-view of the year. And it's just, I don't know, man. I think the two things that really hurt the show, I think number one was the crowd. You guys know how I feel about Philly and I just think Philly is very spoiled. They get the HD net tapings, they get Chikara, they pretty much get everything. So they've seen it all. I mean, I'm not saying they're bad fans. They're very, I think like True Slayer would say, they're the type of fans that like wait the crap on things. And I think a lot of the booking was hurt because of the overall crowd reaction on the show. So I think that was the main problem. And number two, obviously, like millions of people have talked about already, is the actual booking. I just don't see why we can't get blow off matches, great finishes, just one time a year. I just don't understand why, just once. Why can't TNA just go out of their way and put on a WrestleMania caliber show? I'm not saying WrestleMania is great every year, but why not just put on a show with great finishes, a top to bottom, just an awesome, spectacular card. It hasn't happened in about 4 or 5 years with TNA, so it's just really frustrating because they have the talent, and this show had great matches that definitely had potential to be awesome, and a lot of it just didn't live up to its potential. It just didn't. But I'm not going to say this is an awful show. I'm not going to come here and crap on it and say this is your typical garbage TNA show. Don't even watch it. It's definitely worth the watch. It's definitely I would go so far as to say it was pretty much worth the money because it still is, in my opinion, it was still a solid wrestling card. It just considering this is the biggest show of the year, it was a total flop in my opinion, and it didn't leave you in a good mood after the show. I was very, very frustrated, so I was not happy. Because that Angle Bobby Roode match, wow! I mean that was going so good. I mean, you could just feel it with those two guys, and some of the other matches were pretty good. I was not aware of that stipulation for AJ and Daniels until I actually ordered the pay-per-view. I didn't watch the go home show, so that I quit stipulation really was frustrating. But yeah, let's just go through it. We have Austin Aries versus Brian Kendrick to open up the show. A pretty good opener. I think everyone expected this to be at least really, really good, and that's what it was. Brian Kendrick is not really the opponent, that I really wanted to see Aries go up against. I think Kendrick is good. He's just, everyone on the indies has been saying this everyone that's talked about indie wrestling has been saying this for, the last 2 years. He's definitely lost something, and but this was definitely the Austin Aries show. Aries came to play. He showed the full arsenal tonight: charisma, athleticism, crispness. He's just very, very crisp out there. And a lot of the I'm listening to a lot of mainstream fans, or a lot of just casual fans that just review sports and wrestling. A lot of people that weren't aware of Austin Aries are very impressed with him and just think he's the hottest wrestler on the planet right now. And it definitely was. It definitely was a great showcase. And really love the opener. Arguably the match of the night. I still think it could have been a little bit better. So considering this is the biggest pay-per-view of the year, I would have given these guys a little bit more time. Just let them go crazy. I think they could have done more X Division type stuff out there. But I can't take nothing away from both of these guys. I thought they both looked good. I thought Aries, I'm really happy for him. Like I've said plenty of times, I was really worried about him, to tell you the truth. I really thought he was just gonna fade into obscurity, and and considering all the bad blood with TNA that he's had in the past, I didn't expect him to come back like this. And I think he definitely fits the TNA style. And after this pay-per-view, I think there's a lot of bright things to look at. I think Aries, AJ, Daniels, Bobby Roode, Kurt Angle, maybe even James Storm. I think that's a nice solid nucleus, to build around. If they are going to change booking with Vince Russo not being the head booker anymore. And hopefully Hogan and Sting will take minimum roles with the company and just stay backstage, and maybe things would turn around. So I'm not totally saying that I'm done with TNA or anything like that. I think If you see if I see some significant improvement in the booking and on the television show, and we get some more cards that look like this, I'll give him another chance, because I don't think I don't know, this wasn't the type of pay-per-view that totally was a total turnoff. It was just another frustrating show. Um, and I do feel like they are in a transitional point right now, more than ever. So I'm not going to say this is totally, awful. Like, don't watch TNA again. So just want to get that out there. But yeah, let's move on to Rob Van Dam versus Jerry Lynn. People are really critical of their stuff lately, because obviously it's not going to compare to the 1999 stuff. So it's really tough. I really feel for both of these guys. I feel like they busted their ass. It was more of a hardcore match. I feel like they relied on too much hardcore stuff and didn't really. I felt like they should have done some more mat wrestling, and then did some more athleticism in their moves, and really just build up more to the hardcore stuff than they did. It just felt like it was too spot happy, and I just felt like they rushed all the ladder spots and all the table spot, not chair spots actually. Actually, I don't think they used any tables, but yes, it's still good chemistry from these guys. You saw the Van Daminators, the Van Terminators. You saw sunset flips onto a ladder. Jerry Lynn, I think he botched the sunset flip, and Van Dam went, neck first right into the steel guardrail. And, I'm actually shocked that Van Dam hasn't had neck surgery yet, considering all the vicious bumps he's taken on the back of his neck. But, yeah, I mean, definitely not their best match. Probably not as good as their Destination X match, but still gave the fans what they want. Both these guys are, Van Dam is 40, Jerry Lynn's 49, so I still thought the effort was great. The execution and the chemistry wasn't as sweet as it was in the past, but yeah, great finish with Van Dam with the Van Terminator and the steel chair. For him to be 40 years old and actually pull that off, Van Dam still has it, and hopefully he has one last run left in him. And so we'll see what happens. I know Rob and Jerry Lynn, they want to work together. I know Rob has requested to work with Jerry Lynn on several occasions, but I think that pretty much does it with this feud, and I think it's time for Rob Van Dam to move on, and I think they should do a lot more with him than they're doing right now, in my opinion. So, all right, so we'll move on to Samoa Joe versus Crimson versus Matt Morgan, and let me just say this, in Philly, obviously Joe used to live in Philadelphia, when he started out with Ring of Honor. So a lot of the the hardcore fan base was, it seemed like they were pleasantly surprised to see Joe again. I kind of miss Samoa Joe. Like, I don't feel like I've been watching him for the last couple of years, even though he's been with the company in TNA. I just don't feel like I'm seeing the same Samoa Joe from years past. And it's sad to see how Samoa Joe has fallen off. In 2007, I guarantee you this: if you took a poll in 2007 and said, who do you think has been pound for pound best wrestler in the world, or at least in the United States, from 2000 to 2007, Samoa Joe would have won that. I guarantee you that. But he fell off so bad the last 3 years that people are just giving up on him. He's definitely, I don't know what it is. He just looks unmotivated. He doesn't look healthy. He looks out of shape. But in this match, though, he showed intensity. He looked like the Joe of old, and he still has the ability, though. He's still an awesome wrestler. It's like, you can't take anything away from his wrestling ability. It's definitely still there. It's just, I can't totally blame TNA for not pushing him, because he just looks like a slot. He doesn't look in shape. And I know he's Samoan and everything like that. So obviously Joe's never going to look like a bodybuilder. I'm not saying he has to look like a bodybuilder. I just think if you've seen Joe in his prime, he just looks a lot more, healthier and athletic than he does right now. That's all I'm saying. But yeah, Crimson is definitely not over. It's just, this is just the guy that they're totally clueless about. I don't know who's in charge of pushing this guy Crimson. He's not connecting with the fans at all. And I think Matt Morgan is a doofus. I know Jim Cornette said Matt Morgan's going to be a superstar one day. The guy, he's just not over it either. The fans just can't stand watching him. I think Matt Morgan and Crimson are two great examples of guys in TNA that you just don't want to see on TV. I just don't think they're ready to be in the mainstream right now. All right, next up we have Bully Ray versus Mr. Anderson, Mr. Asshole, Mr. Kennedy, whatever you want to call him. I'm not a big fan of either guy, but I'll give both guys credit. I think Bully Ray is a great heel. He knows how to get heat. He's definitely he's really an asshole, and it definitely helps out his character a lot. And it was an entertaining match, man. They busted their ass. It was a brutal hardcore match. It was entertaining. But Anderson fucked up the finish, though, which is not a big deal. I wouldn't mind it. I really thought they salvaged the finish. To tell you the truth, it's just, it's just one of those cases where Anderson just fucks everything up. He had a great match going for him, and he still fucked it up. It just seems like every single time this guy has something good going for him, he finds a way to fuck it up. It just seems like that. All right, so the knockouts match, it was total crap. I just want to say this about the knockouts. I think if you go back, I think that's pretty much, in my opinion, one of the things that really ruined TNA for me. Because 2007, when Impact was only 1 hour long, I used to love it every single week. Like Bill and Doug said, I think Doug said this, it really left you wanting more back then. But it just, the knockouts, man. It started off with Gail Kim and Awesome Kong, and which was good, but it just dwindled and got worse and worse and worse. And it's like Bret Hart would say, Wrestling with Shadows. If you guys seen that documentary, it's like watching smut TV. In this day and age, you don't need to watch girls that are pretending to be wrestlers but look like porn stars. There's no reason to watch it. It just people want to see good women's wrestling, and I just don't understand why that cannot be brought back to the mainstream. This just definitely felt just a total waste of time. It just definitely was not good to watch. Like Bret Hart would say, this is smut TV. Next up, we had AJ Styles versus Christopher Daniels. I love both of these guys. They have great chemistry. However, though, I'm going to say that their last couple matches have been disappointing. People have been coming on here expecting, Joe and AJ and Daniels to, save TNA and to really, take the business by storm with some of the last couple of matches. And honestly, their last couple of matches were good. They were 4-star matches, but they really did nothing for either guy. So, I'm not going to totally bash, TNA's decision to make this an I Quit match, because I thought they did a lot of good things here. I think it was a great way to get Daniels on the mic and really get him some heat. The last couple of times when AJ and Daniels fought, it did nothing for Daniels. It really didn't. It just didn't. I don't know. Maybe they didn't have the confidence in both of these guys just to go out there and put on an awesome match. But, out of all their matches, I thought this one definitely had that feel to it. Like, if this was not an I Quit match, I felt like this could have been really something special. But it just wasn't. One of the wackest and lamest finishes I ever saw. It just didn't come off good. Maybe in front of a different crowd, if the crowd reacted better. I get what they were going for. That AJ made his comeback, and I think they wanted the fans to react like AJ was kicking his ass so bad that they wanted Daniels just to chicken out, but it didn't come off like that. Daniels said, "I quit." Everyone just started booing, and it just came off really, really awkward. But at the same time, though, it was great storyline progression for Christopher Daniels. This did a lot for him. If people backstage like Hogan and Bischoff were, if they didn't think this guy had, the mic skills or the star power, I think Daniels definitely proved them wrong tonight. So it was good storyline advancement, but at Bound for Glory, this is not the time to be doing that stuff. Why not just go out there and just have a kick-ass match? That's not what happened. I Quit matches are tough, though. They're usually not very good, in my opinion. And AJ and Daniels, you got to let both of these guys wrestle. And it's really not what happened tonight. But it was still good, though. I still thought like this match had really good sequences and great charisma from Daniels, but still definitely just a really, this match really proves that sometimes if you don't have a good finish, and the whole night just proves sometimes if you just don't have a good finish, it's just going to hurt the match big time. And that's what happened. Sting versus Hogan, don't really want to talk about it. This was, Hogan in the past has surprised me from time to time, but, Shawn Michaels was not in the building, and it's not 2005, as we all know, and that was definitely not going to happen. Hogan and Sting, obviously, was very, very, it's just one of those matches that kind of made you embarrassed to be a wrestling fan. And, it just proves a point that there's still just a lot of dumb wrestling fans in the world. And you just really got the feeling a lot of the fans actually came just to see this match, which is pretty sad. And, just really a total shitfest. I really cannot wait for it to end. And Hogan, I really wish Hogan would just take a backstage role and just really not come out anymore. The babyface thing was really laughable, but maybe that was just a way to put the nail in the coffin for Hogan. And Sting, I like Sting. I think he's a great performer, but I wish he would really take more of an Undertaker-like role, just make special appearances. There's no reason for him to be taking up a lot of TV time anymore, and hopefully he realizes that.